Your thyroid is the most important endocrine gland in your body. It produces thyroid hormone, which then goes on to impact just about every cell and every hormone that you can think of. Ranging from your metabolism to your hair growth to your bowel movements, they're all managed and regulated by your thyroid. When there is a problem with your thyroid, you will feel it. Thyroid gland inflammation leads to thyroid hormone dysregulation and a number of symptoms that you can identify to help you know what is going on. So if you've been experiencing abnormal symptoms, or if you just want to make sure that your thyroid is in tip-top shape, this video is for you. Here are 6 signs that, if present, indicate that you have thyroid gland inflammation. And stay tuned until the end because number 6 is the most important on the list. Number 1, we have fluctuating thyroid hormone levels. Your thyroid gland functions as a reservoir for thyroid hormone, much in the same way that a sponge holds water. If you disturb your thyroid gland with inflammation, one of 2 things can happen. The first is that it may accidentally release too much thyroid hormone, resulting in a state of hyperthyroidism. In this state, you may experience symptoms like anxiety, hot flashes, weight loss, diarrhea, and a jittery sensation. The second is that it may block or inhibit the release of thyroid hormone, resulting in a bout of hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism is a state of too little thyroid hormone production and may result in symptoms like weight gain, hair loss, fatigue, and cold intolerance. In general, more acute and rapid inflammation tends to lead to hyperthyroid symptoms, and more chronic and long-term inflammation tends to lead to hypothyroid symptoms. A perfect example of this can be seen in the condition known as Hashimoto's thyroiditis. This is a chronic autoimmune thyroid condition which results in long-term damage and hypothyroidism. Inflammation of the thyroid gland can be managed though, so just because you have these symptoms doesn't mean you have to live with them forever. Number 2, we have feeling run down. Do you ever feel like you just don't have the energy that you once used to? Or that it's difficult to get out of bed and do your day-to-day activities? Or how about just not having the drive or motivation to do the things that you know you need to do? These are all potential signs of thyroid gland inflammation. Your thyroid gland is one of the primary regulators of both your metabolism and ATP production inside of your cells. And one of the most common symptoms of both hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism is fatigue. It doesn't matter if your thyroid is too high or too low. Any dysregulation in thyroid cellular function can result in fatigue. This is also true of inflammation in general, by the way, not just inflammation of your thyroid gland. Generalized inflammation can negatively impact neuronal function, which can then manifest as both mental and physical fatigue. We also know that inflammation negatively impacts mitochondrial function and therefore ATP production. Bottom line, both general inflammation and thyroid gland inflammation can lead to fatigue. Number 3, we have joint pain and muscle pain. It is well known that inflammation in general can lead to joint pain, like back pain, but what isn't as well known is the connection between your thyroid and joint pain. Low thyroid states can result in both joint pain and muscle pain, and a condition that looks very similar to fibromyalgia. In fact, hypothyroidism has been implicated as a potential cause of fibromyalgia. We don't know exactly why thyroid dysfunction results in both joint pain and muscle pain, but it's felt to be secondary to a decrease of thyroid hormone directly in the joints and muscle tissues. It's theorized that this decrease in thyroid hormone leads to a buildup of something called glycosaminoglycans and subsequent swelling or edema inside of the joints. It's this mechanism that then leads to joint pain. Decreased thyroid hormone inside of the muscle belly can lead to trigger points, which in turn leads to muscle pain. You can actually start poking around on your body right now to see if your thyroid is contributing to any of these painful points. The diagnosis of fibromyalgia is made when you have a sufficient number of these painful trigger point areas. When it comes to your thyroid and your joints, the type of joint pain that is associated with thyroid gland inflammation is the type that is worse in the morning but eases throughout the day as you get up and get going. The good news is that you can also treat the pain points inside of your muscle bellies with standard therapies. Trigger point injection therapy and myofascial release can both be effective. The only problem is if you don't address your thyroid, these trigger points will continually come back. The same logic applies to thyroid-related joint pain. If you can treat your thyroid, and if that joint pain is related to your thyroid, then the joint pain will resolve. Number 4, we have allergies or new reactions to foods. There's a connection between your gut and your thyroid gland. This is because your thyroid helps to control the normal movement of your gut throughout the day, known as peristalsis. When there is a problem with your thyroid gland, that movement gets disrupted and leads to all sorts of issues, ranging from changes in your bowel movement to the concentration of bacteria found inside of your gut. And these changes in bowel movements and bacteria concentrations can actually result in food sensitivities or reactions to foods that weren't an issue in the past. These aren't true food allergies per se, they are just reactions to food because your gut is disrupted. And that disruption is primarily caused by the connection between your thyroid and your gut. But once again, if you can fix your thyroid, you can improve your gut motility, which will then help with your digestion of food. Number 5, we have skin rashes or other skin problems. This could include symptoms like acne, dermatitis, rashes, hives, or dry skin. Your skin is the biggest organ on your body and is very susceptible to changes in thyroid function. One of its main functions is to protect your body from the environment, but it also serves as an amazing canary in the coal mine for the inside of your body. When you start to experience problems with your skin, that's almost always a sign that there's a problem going on inside of your body. That could be from your hormones, like your thyroid in this case, or from nutrient deficiencies, or from the foods that you eat. No matter what though, make sure you pay attention to your skin and take skin symptoms seriously. Problems with your thyroid can result in no fewer than 15 different issues on your skin. Number 6, we have symptoms of other autoimmune diseases. And as I said, this is probably the most important, and here's why. Inflammation of the thyroid gland is never a normal sign. So if you have any of the symptoms we've discussed so far, it's likely your body telling you that something is wrong. Anatomically speaking, because the thyroid gland is relatively protected from the rest of your body, if it's inflamed, you know that there's a problem with your immune system. And if that's the case, then there's a high likelihood that your thyroid gland inflammation is caused by an autoimmune thyroid condition like Hashimoto's thyroiditis or Graves' disease. That's because these are by far the most common causes of thyroid gland inflammation out there. And genetically speaking, we know that if somebody has one autoimmune disease, they are much more likely to develop another down the line. So if you are truly experiencing thyroid gland inflammation, don't be surprised if you also start to experience the symptoms of other autoimmune conditions. The autoimmune diseases that are most frequently associated with thyroid gland inflammation include celiac disease, which is an immune reaction to gluten, vitiligo, which results in depigmentation of the skin, pernicious anemia, which results in damage to the stomach lining and decreased absorption of vitamin B12, adrenal insufficiency from the destruction of your adrenal glands, and even lupus. Each of these conditions has their own set of symptoms, and I won't go over those now, but just be aware that if you have thyroid gland inflammation, you're much more likely to develop these conditions and their subsequent symptoms. If you have any of the 6 symptoms that we've just discussed, don't get too concerned because there are things that you can do to manage them. Specific treatments can target whole body inflammation as well as thyroid gland inflammation. If you're interested in getting inflammation under control, I'd recommend checking out this video next, which talks about the best anti-inflammatory supplements out there.